What's going on, guys? This is Sneed from Sneed Mobile Tech, and in today's video I just want to kind of jump right into it. After watching the T-Mobile earnings report for Q1 of 2019, I did hear a couple of statements from the CEO and COO about the future of what T-Mobile is going to do with their pricing. When asked about bundling services, T-Mobile representation said that they were not interested in bundling services, and then they clarified and said, "We're not interested in bundling services like AT&T." That is a very interesting statement, the way that they stated and implicated AT&T there. So AT&T, obviously, big company, they offer a lot of services, and bundling is kind of the fabric of what they do, trying to get multiple revenue streams and keeping customers within their economic ecosystem. So what I want to do in this video is I want to analyze that statement. I want to kind of dissect it, take it apart, and then do some speculation. What did the CEO and COO of T-Mobile actually mean by this statement? So let's kind of cover this. Now, obviously, this statement is pretty loaded. What did T-Mobile mean by saying they didn't want to bundle service? I think at its essence, T-Mobile is basically saying they don't want to bundle services the way that AT&T does, which is basically get you in for your core service and then try to dress you up and get you in some other stuff. Ways for them to make more money, ways for them to be more profitable. Keep the avenue of making money away from other companies and kind of keep it with them. The problem with bundling some services is the fact that sometimes you don't necessarily want those services, but to save the money on the core service that you do want, you kind of agree to take on payment of the other services that are being bundled. So really, it's not what the consumer wants, but more of a concession that the consumer is willing to make to get the core service that they're interested in receiving. So essentially, AT&T is saying, we'll give you the core service that you're really looking for, and we'll give it to you at a certain price if you're willing to bundle services in other ways. So you scratch my back, I scratch yours. But is that really what the customer wants, and is that really the best business approach? So this last part of what I'm going to cover is, what exactly can T-Mobile do? How are they going to approach saying that, yeah, we'll bundle services, but not the way that AT&T does? So what do they mean by this? So the first thing T-Mobile wants to do is they want to offer you a good deal on internet service, and what they're talking about is home broadband. Now, they want to come in and be disruptive. If they're going to do that, obviously the price is going to be very important, and it's going to be a sensitive point. Throw in the fact that they kind of really need the merger to do this in terms of a grand scale to do it nationally, so that does kind of hinge upon the merger. The next thing that they may want to consider bundling and doing things a little bit differently is the TV side. We're going to have to give customers a TV option, something that's good enough to replace cable, and possibly even something that's good enough to replace a streaming option, something similar to what Hulu Live or Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of these other services. They've got to come in with something there. Of course, last but not least, you've got to remember wireless. This is the core of what T-Mobile does. Being a disruptor in wireless has been their claim to fame for the last several years. That's going to have to continue. And if you think about bundling services, T-Mobile should probably consider doing something with all three: home broadband, home or streaming TV, and then also the wireless. Can they do something with all three? Can they be a disruptor in that way and making a bundle that's better than anything that AT&T can do? Before I kind of wrap this up, I do want to say there's been a lot going on about the merger and the fear that AT&T apparently has. They don't want the merger to go through. They don't want the merger to be approved. That creates a legitimate player and disruptor in what they're doing in market pricing, and AT&T is extremely guilty of having unfair bundling prices and tying down to contracts and gouging prices in the middle of people's services. So yeah, it makes sense that AT&T doesn't want to see this, but they may not have a choice in it if T-Mobile is going to be a disruptor in the near future. That's what T-Mobile representation had to say during the earnings report, and that's kind of my interpretation of the situation. I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions on what I brought to the table and what the CEO and COO talked about in the earnings report. You guys can let me know what you think about these topics. I think it's an interesting concept to kind of dissect and analyze, so drop me a line in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So that pretty much wraps up the video. Thank you all for taking the time to watch. If you could, please go ahead and rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already and you've been lurking. Also, if you'd like to be notified whenever new videos are uploaded, hit that notification bell and you'll be the first to know whenever those videos are up. And again, thank you all for taking the time to watch. Much appreciated. Appreciate all of the viewership, all my subscribers, the supporters in the community on Discord. Big shout out to them. And of course, the patrons on the Patreon side. Thank you so much for your continued support. I'll leave links in the description for ways of you to get in touch with that community. If you're interested, go ahead and check that out. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you all again so much for watching. I am Sneed from Sneed Mobile Tech, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.